Welcome back. You tuned into Talking Point only on Salam Media with me, your host Miriam Mia, and today our focus is on NGOs, NPOs, as well as collaborations, all with the aim of serving humanity, making the world a better, brighter place. And it's the little that we do, the small steps that we take, and the small interventions into the lives of people that makes a huge difference in staying on therapeutic interventions. I'm now joined by Sister Nabeelah Rajah, who is the coordinator of Artists in Arms. That it's going to be an art exhibition fundraiser that's going to be happening this weekend, inshallah. And this is in aid of raising funds, much needed funds for the Teddy Bear Clinic. And I'm pleased to have the director of the Teddy Bear Clinic, clinical director of the Teddy Bear Clinic, joining us as well. And that's Dr. Shaheda Omar as well, to explain to us the types of interventions, therapeutic interventions that the Teddy Bear Clinic conducts and the services they offer. So first, I'm going to speak to Nabeelah and welcome her because I'd like to know. This is a very, very interesting uh, exhibition. So I'd like to know in what prompted her to actually initiate this particular fundraiser, all in aid to raise much needed funds for Teddy Bear Clinic. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Nabeelah, and welcome to Talking Point here on Salam Media.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thank you so much for having us for this time today. I'm actually a full-time veterinary student, and the Artists in Arms is only about 1 year and a month old now, I think. So we thought it was going to be a one-time thing. We had our first exhibition last year in June. And it was actually the theme was Al Hurriya, which means freedom, and that was an exhibition to highlight what is going on in Palestine. The amazing thing was we all came together. The people from Artists in Arms all came together in the space of 3 weeks, and we had a full-on event, happening from day one. We met each other or online, and 3 weeks later had a fully fledged event just to raise what we could for we donated money to Gift of the Givers at that point, and our primary goal was to raise awareness, to get conversations going about what is actually happening, because there's a lot of NGOs or whatever organizations that are raising money, which is great, but a lot of people, when you talk to them about or want to engage in any kind of conversation, no one knows where to start. And I think a lot of people feel like there isn't that safe space where they can get conversations going. We're more worried about like what the next influencer is doing or what the next like trend is or where the next hotspot is, but no one actually knows how to talk about real things that matter. And that's where I thought like it would be a cool way to actually mix art into everything and use art as a form of expression and create a platform for conversation, but also for art at the same time. So we thought it was going to be a one-time thing, and people actually ended up messaging us to ask us, can we have another one? And I think the team was quite surprised because this was happening during, I think, the Delta variant. So it was a miracle that we actually pulled it off. But we then decided we were going to change the theme just to switch things up a bit and maybe highlight another cause. And that's where I think children are very important to the hearts of pretty much everyone on the team. We have a mix of students, moms, dads on our team. And I think in some way or the other, they resonated with the cause. And as such, we came up with the theme called We've Slipped Through the Cracks. And it's just basically about how society has, or how we've allowed children to slip through the cracks of society because we're too focused on other things, and they should be our main focus. So it's just a different way of highlighting a cause. Instead of me giving a pamphlet out or holding a seminar or something, it's something just a little bit different, but we're trying to involve art by doing what we do, and also hopefully provide a small platform to artists as well, because in today's times, it's very difficult to get any kind of platform as a budding artist, or you have to be represented or do something or the other. So in a nutshell, that is what we do.
And sterling work it is. I know in between everything you said, you full-time student, you studying veterinary science, so that alone is loaded, but you still make time. And this is what being a humanitarian is, making the time in your busy life to have conversations or do initiatives that matter, that is going to create awareness and ultimately improve the lives of even an individual, but so changing a individual status quo to somebody who becomes a positive member, a stable positive member and contributing member of society. So we wish you all the best for your for the upcoming exhibition. And I love that you said you are initiating conversations and getting us all to introspect and do something to serve humanity. So I wish you all the best. And now I'd like to actually speak to Dr. Shaheda because I want to know, how have we failed our children? In what capacity have we allowed them to fall slip through the cracks? And fortunately, Dr. Shaheda, your team at Teddy Bear Clinic provides a safety net, so they're not falling all the way there. I think just before they hit landfall, Teddy Bear Clinic is an organization that actually provides the safety net so that they can be rehabilitated and they can be supported. So please tell us. I know Teddy Bear Clinic originated in 1986 purely for that reason, to provide support. So just tell us a little bit about Teddy Bear Clinic and the services that you offer.
Shukran Dalil and Sister Mariam. So, as you have highlighted, we are an established organization serving children's best interests over a 30-year period. It's the services we provide is medical legal support. So, a medical clinic providing forensic examinations for child victims of abuse and neglect. And then we provide psychosocial support to victims of child abuse. So, counseling, trauma debriefing, ongoing supportive counseling to families. And we also provide legal support in terms of court preparation, where criminal cases are opened in the event that a child has been victimized. A criminal case is opened and the child will then have to testify, and court preparation is provided to allay and alleviate the fears and anxieties of the court processes, to familiarize the child with who's who in the zoo in the courtroom, but also to ensure that they understand they have rights, that if they're not sure of certain things, they can say they don't remember, they cannot understand, they're tired, they need to be excused. So that is some of the services we provide. We do community outreach in terms of safe school programs, where we go out and speak to learners at schools from your ECD right through to senior high school learners, age-appropriate information, where they're made aware of their rights, responsibilities, safe and unsafe touches, but also at the same time understanding that actions have consequences. So in the instances of bullying, cyberbullying, the sexting, sextorting, the children are aware that certain actions will result in certain consequences, and that those would certainly be taken further by law enforcement. So I think our approach is a very holistic, integrated, coordinated approach, providing services in a 360-degree fashion, working within the multidisciplinary team.
Yes, Sister Shada, you mentioned, as you were speaking, it must be so daunting for a young child now to be then exposed to the world of the court, and the court works in a certain way, and it's intimidating. Firstly, somebody is already traumatized, has to then have the added trauma of then being in the courtroom. I mean, they're being questioned now in terms of, did this really happen? There's various emotions flooding, and definitely a need that children require this support. I was thinking of a young child, maybe under 12, that has to now testify in courts. It must be really, really difficult, not only for them, but even for the family now to support this child. It's another trauma going to the court, I would imagine.
Absolutely. So if we just look at the whole process, when a case is opened and by the time it goes to trial, and by the time the case gets finalized, we're looking at anything between 2 and 3 years. In some instances, even longer than that. So just try and imagine the child who has been subjected to trauma, who has to relive this experience, who has to go back and forth to the courts and face the alleged perpetrator, and having to go back and forth to say the case has been postponed. So each time that wound is reopened and all that pain comes flooding back to the child, the anxieties, the fears, and the horror of standing in front of the courtroom, even if it's in a special room. The reality is that courts are not built for children. It's cold, it's gray, it's uninviting, and it's very scary. And often we find that many children actually want to give up, families want to withdraw because of the delays, because of irregularities, and because of the way in which children and families are treated by law enforcement and even by the criminal justice system, where they are failing our children, failing the best interests of children, and inducing secondary victimization. So this is not an easy process, and I think certainly not advancing the rights of children. It's more harmful than helpful.
Uh, Sobering words indeed, Sister Shaheda. But since the intervention, Teddy Bear Clinic's intervention from 1986, has there been, I mean, have you advocated certain changes or for certain changes within the justice system that would be more supportive and taking into consideration these are young children who've already been through an ordeal in it? So, what since Teddy Bear Clinic has been providing this, what are some of the positive changes that have been introduced in terms of just making this process a lot more easier for the child and the support system around the child?
So we've had landslide victories. I can beam with pride and say that we've had opportunities where policies and legislation have been amended. If we look at the statute of limitations on sexual violence or indecent assault, where previously there was a statute of limitations of 20 years. Now we know for rape there's no statute of limitations, but in our application to the Constitutional Court, amended relief was provided to both children and adults where there is no longer a statute of limitations. So a person can report or make a disclosure and open a criminal case years after the fact, that there is no time limit for anybody to report it and open a case and go through the criminal justice system pursuing justice. We've also had other sliding victories regarding the banning of corporal punishment at home, where we've been amicus curiae, where we've provided affidavits and supported case studies to the Constitutional Court. If we look at the COVID-19 pandemic, where we made an application to the High Court, supporting evidence was provided regarding the reinstatement of the National Nutritional Feeding Scheme at schools. We've been very successful in that, where it was immediately demanded that schools needed to reinstate that. So, and I can go on, stating a lot more things that we have advanced the rights of children, and even court preparation has no longer, it's not something that it's okay, and it has become a must-have, and it has been ordered and mandated, endorsed by the criminal justice system to ensure that children are not subjected to secondary victimization, that they are fully equipped and empowered and enabled to testify in court competently.
And really, please, from everybody at Salam Media, please pass on our acknowledgement, appreciation to all those, and especially all the volunteers as well at Teddy Bear Clinic, because you know what, it's sterling organizations and advocacy groups like this that are going to be the instruments of change. Because government bureaucracy, I think you can tear your hair out doing this, but it's just that when you persevere and that sustained commitment, things can happen. And organizations such as yours are instruments of change. And then, Sister Shaheda, there's a second approach that the Teddy Bear Clinic does. So, while you are supporting, providing the support system for victims of all types of abuse, you have now, especially I think in the last 10 years, um, abuse has changed, or the face of abuse has changed, in that there are lots of young sexual offenders that have come to the floor. And this is indictment not on them, but on society, that community and tribal spirit of bringing up children. We have, I mean, it's a lot on parents. Parents work, they've got, but that sense of community is no more there. There are many vices there. And as a result, many, you are seeing a lot more young sexual offenders. And, because they're so young, we can't just write them off, because our research will show that they would tend to then become an adult offender. And Teddy Bear Clinic has realized this and seen this. And then there's a program designed. Tell us more about the program to redirect a young child offender away from the criminal justice system, in order to rehabilitate this child here into behaviors that are more positive and constructive. So for me, this is a huge plus, because I don't think you can write off any individual in society,
There's
especially a young offender.
Indeed, there's hope for every child. So you make reference to our SPARK program, which is the support program for abuse reactive children. It's a diversion program, diverting children away from the criminal justice system. These are children that come into conflict with the law, children who are engaging in sexual activity or aggressive sexual behavior against other children, and just under 50% of children are sexually assaulting other children. And you are absolutely correct when you say that children are a microcosm of the broader societal context. They're mirroring what they are experiencing and living by. So they live by what they've been exposed to. The diversion program certainly gives children a second chance in life, believing in every child, the opportunity for providing intervention, providing rehabilitation and reintegration into the community. Now, what we do is we take children through a whole intensive intervention program, usually lasting anything between 3 and 6 months, with a follow-up at 12 months, a further follow-up at 18 months, to ensure that they have not relapsed or they have not reoffended. And our statistics and impact evaluations confirm the value and the impact, where 95% of children who have gone through this intervention have not reoffended. We focus on developing victim empathy, problem-solving skills, relapse prevention, anger management, conflict resolution, also engaging around impulse control issues, and analyzing values and attitudes around sex and sexuality. And we engage not only with the child in isolation, but bringing in the broader system, the bigger context, where the significant others, such as parents and primary caregivers, are brought into the equation, brought into the intervention, in assisting them outside of the formal therapeutic setting in managing their children, understanding what the triggers are, and working towards relapse prevention.
And Sister Shada, I'm sure you must have had many then success stories, so to speak, about that. These children who are maybe young sexual offenders, who are now late teenagers, early adults, have they managed to change their lives around? Have you? I'm sure you must have interacted personally with some of them. And in terms of personal stories, do you have any to share as well?
Absolutely. We have lots of success stories to speak by. Children that have entered tertiary institutions, children that have graduated, children that have become entrepreneurs, children that have become mentors. So, on different levels of success, and the rehabilitation has certainly lasted and improved not only the lives of these individuals, the lives of their families, and even their communities. I think we can only beam with pride to say a program of this nature is essential to enhance the well-being of many children, because these are children who are misunderstood. They are labeled as bad, as mad. And often when we unpack and unpeel the layers, these are very sad children who have unmet, unresolved issues. And given the opportunity through intervention, given the opportunity with a view to turning their lives around. So it's from being a victim, victimizer to thriver, and breaking and disrupting the cycle and pattern of abuse.
Uh, well, you know what? For me, it's so encouraging, and that's why I feel so pleased, and I'm also sitting here beaming that we have NPOs such as the Teddy Bear Clinic that offers this holistic approach here, because, as you say, every child given uh, a proper context, a proper therapy, a proper guidance and support structure can be a positive contributors to society. I think about the Sunday Times article written by psychologist Judith Enser regarding the Devon, where 21 kids had lost their lives. And it's actually, yes, there's so much on the parents, but it's a communal community responsibility. Everyone has a responsibility. We need to go back to that age-old adage that it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a community. These are all our children. I mean, if you look at what was happening there, offering alcohol to to young kids, school going children at 2 a.m. in the morning just to attract them and lock them in for material gain is atrocious and shocking. And I'm sure Teddy Bear Clinic will also have a lot to say on that, in terms of the full might of the law needs to be then meted out in a punishment. Justice needs to take its course, and full might of the law in appropriate sentencing for such entrepreneurs, irresponsible entrepreneurs. Something needs to be done to change this and break this pattern of behavior. But thanks so much for coming on and enlighten us. So it's not all doom and gloom, but there's also a silver lighting and light for the tunnel. And I thank young student activists as Nabeelah, Rajah, who, for me, I feel so proud that may your generation continue like this, and may you raise such issues and provide a platform for highlighting what the Teddy Bear Clinic does, because Sister Shaheda can do the work she does, but I mean, fundraising is a whole nother avenue there that, there's only 24 hours in a day. If you can push yourself, you might get a 25th if you're lucky, but you need the support of, I'm sure you're grateful that you have youth and young adults such as Sister Nabeelah, who collaborate and work with you to highlight issues and fundraise, Sister Shaheda.
Absolutely. I mean, we salute, we commend, and we applaud the likes of Nabeelah and her associates and fellow colleagues. Without the support, without public support, without donor support, we cannot continue to deliver the work. And I just want to say that children are born, but champions are made. And it's with the support of donations, with the support of sponsorship, that champions are developed and continue to thrive.
And we have it saved the date. We've slipped through the cracks, and this is happening this weekend, 16th and 17th July 2022, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. All the information is on the screens at Brescia House, and this you'll find on 14 Sloane Street, Bryanston, Johannesburg. So please get yourself here. Start conversations. Bring your own children as well. And yes, adults come, and let's donate this cause so that we can have a positive, prosperous society going forward. So instead of complaining, let's be part of the solution to make this world a better place. So from me, Maryam Mia, until next week, may you all stay under the mercy and protection of the Almighty, and let's carry on making the world a better place and a better world. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings to all.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam.
Yeah. Show you